Hello studious minds and welcome back to Pagan Philosophy, the channel where we strive to further our understanding of what it truly means to love knowledge. If you guys missed out on my first philosopher profile, you can find the link below in the description box. I profiled who I believe to be the most influential philosopher of all time, Plato. But today we're going to be talking about Augustine of Hippo, a man who would later come to be known as Saint Augustine. And yes, it's Augustine, not Augustine. Augustine is the city. Born in Numidia in the 4th century AD, Augustine was a member of a respectable Roman family. But it seems like his family's financial status can sometimes be called into question. Augustine's parents actually had to borrow money for him to go to school, and it seems as though he was the only one of his siblings to be formally educated. Upon finishing his schooling, he would go on to teach in many of the cities he had studied at, including Milan, the capital of the Western Roman Empire. And with time, both Augustine and his family anticipated that he would enter into politics because of all that he was doing within the educational community. But after only 2 years, he would eventually quit teaching, in part because of the religious climate of the time, and he would return to his birth city to raise his son. When Augustine was in his 30s, his son died, and it was at this point that he felt the pull to begin working in the Christian church. And I'm sure you can piece together where his religious ideas would go from there. But why are we talking about Augustine? Why discuss a late antiquity Christian who would come to be vehemently opposed to all things pagan? Well, as some of you may know, he definitely didn't start that way. Like a lot of people in the Roman Empire at this time, Augustine was originally a pagan, a Manikyam to be exact. What's a Manikyam, you may ask? Well, buckle up because we've got some overtly pagan ideas coming your way. Around the age of 19, Augustine began adhering to this dualist doctrine called Manichaeism. Founded by Mani, a 3rd century Iranian who felt that he was one of many prophets delivering divine ideas to mankind, this religious movement revolved around the idea that the cosmos was half spiritual and half material. Manichaeans would eventually promote the idea that there is an ever-conflicting opposition between good and evil. But more importantly, Mani felt that all those religious movements before him had something missing. He felt that religion was too localized. Religion in the ancient world was not like religion today. Culturally, you did not choose your gods. Your gods chose you. Take ancient Greece, for example. Greece was really not Greece at all, but was scattered and often warring city-states that were connected by very few things, one of which was the Olympian gods. The ancient Greeks didn't even have a word for religion like we understand it. This means that they didn't always feel the need to address religion as a unique phenomenon. The gods just were. And different cities had different gods and would worship them in different ways. And it was this idea of religion as a cultural occurrence that Mani didn't always appreciate. He wanted a religious doctrine that would appeal to all, a religion that would have no race or cultural significance. Where have we heard this before? Oh yes, folks, the Christians. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither slave nor free, there is no male, no female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Galatians. Looks like the Christians beat Mani to the punch. Of course, his theology would be very different. But why does this matter? Well, during this time in Rome, one would be exposed to many gods. Rome was expanding and was becoming a cultural hodgepodge of many ideas. Seemingly, it was only a matter of time before religions like those of Jesus and Mani would spark up. So Augustine would take the plunge. He would go from Manichaeism to Neoplatonism to Christianity. But why? Well, like any true philosopher, Augustine was very inquisitive. He began bringing his logical concerns to the Manichaean elders, and none of them gave him the answers he was looking for. So he came to the conclusion that Mani's ideas were not philosophically viable. This meant it was time to drop them and keep inquiring. It was when he was teaching in Milan that he began adhering to the old ideas of the pagan philosophers. Around this time, through Neoplatonism and through his mother, who was, you guessed it, a Christian, he converted to Christianity. Although modern scholars do argue that he took a significant amount of pagan ideas with him, specifically those of the Neoplatonists. Now friends, what do we have here? We have an interesting phenomenon where studious minds like Augustine can research contrasting philosophical and religious ideas until they reach one that best makes sense. Regardless, Augustine was a philosopher in the truest sense of the word, and he never settled with the most elementary answers. If you guys enjoyed this video, or if you're interested in hearing more about Augustine, please feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos if you're interested in furthering your knowledge of ancient philosophy. Until next time, friends, stay studious.